The instructor warns that those who fail today will live ordinary lives away from awakeners. Moon sits near the middle, hopeful but tense, while Sarah remains silent beside him. Humanity's age of awakeners began after the collapse brought nightmare creatures into the world. At 18, students face the chance to awaken, defining their futures in an uncertain world. The ceremony begins as students are called alphabetically to awaken by touching the stone. Aaron Wells awakens as a guardian knight, impressing the crowd with his spectral shield. Successes and failures mark the ceremony. One girl quietly accepts her fate after failure. Sarah steps forward confidently and awakens as a rare Lifebinder support class. Sarah avoids Moon's gaze as she returns, signaling a rift growing between them. Moon braces as his name is called, determined despite past doubts. He attempts to awaken by placing his hands on the cold, smooth stone, hoping for a sign. The stone remains unlit, Moon fails, and Sarah's cold indifference confirms their parting. Branded a null, Moon's mind narrows as he sinks into the weight of failure. Marcus invites Sarah to join his powerful party, sealing her decision with a confident smile. Marcus boasts of his lineage, the power of his party, and their upcoming dominance in the first sanctuary. Moon views Marcus with cold disdain, hardened against the painful rejection. Sarah confirms their breakup quietly, ending their relationship amid the buzzing crowd. He masks his pain, refusing to give Sarah the satisfaction of seeing him broken. Moon steps outside into sunlight, ready to face an uncertain future alone. Nobody calls after him. Moon walks forward, his fate now uncertain and solitary. Moon glances at the time, heavy with failure and the looming midnight summoning. He recalls the harsh reality. Failing to awaken crushes his dreams, yet midnight demands his arrival. He understands the first sanctuary summons all, awakened or not, and he fears what awaits. He imagines Sarah celebrating alongside Marcus, stirring a bitter ache as he shuts the blinds. The summoning voice cuts through the silence. 1 minute until arrival in the first sanctuary. He sighs, resigned, staring at the worn ceiling as the countdown begins aloud. The instant arrives. His body dissolves and reforms, the world shifting around him. Moon blinks as he adjusts to the first sanctuary's stone courtyard and strange sky. He watches as some arrivals gasp in wonder while nulls show fear and despair around him. More people appear in flashes of light. He feels the first sanctuary's weight settle on him. A spirit, stunning and sharp-eyed, appears and surveys the crowd with calculated intent. At her click, many nulls vanish, confirming Moon's bitter fate as a rejected null. He resigns himself to a future without the 2 moons that mark this strange new world. The voice of the first sanctuary echoes in his mind, welcoming the chosen ones. Moon feels confusion as the voice speaks of worthiness, a fate he does not understand. The sanctuary promises rewards and dangers. He wonders what will become of him now. He looks to the looming bases described as safe havens, seeking a place to start alone. Moon breathes deep, knowing the strange world will test him beyond any earthbound limit. His status panel awaits, promising guidance even as uncertainty shrouds his path. He steels himself, stepping forward into the unknown with quiet resolve and steady breath. Moon's hands tremble in disbelief as the voice welcomes him to the first sanctuary. He panics, convinced a system glitch let him slip into the sanctuary by mistake. He realizes he must survive here a week with no class, no power, and no food. The spirit's voice returns, telling him how to check his status panel. The translucent status panel appears, showing baffling details of his class and talent. Moon struggles to grasp how he has a status panel despite being classless. Suddenly the world shifts, transporting Moon to a large defensible base. Moon takes in the imposing walls and bustling plaza, trying to get his bearings. A nervous girl with ponytails approaches and asks if they can form a team. He agrees cautiously, needing allies but still puzzled by his status. Moon's eyes return to the status panel as he studies each strange detail again. The panel confirms his classless status with a bold note of freedom. Moon learns he can learn skills from any class, defying the rigid system rules. He focuses on his unique talent to gain 5 times the lives from slain beasts. Moon recognizes how precious lives are, the currency for survival and growth here. He studies the class slot ability granting a day of mimicking new skills. Moon finally understands he is an anomaly, different from all other awakeners. He steels himself for the unexpected challenges ahead in this strange world. Moon feels the weight lift, a heavy pressure easing after the ceremony. He reflects on betrayal by the one he trusted most, realizing trust is costly. Moon recalls how he tried hardest in the relationship, but she never reciprocated. He accepts the harsh truth. No one will stand by him in hardship. Moon notices Celine has quickly assembled a small team around her. He joins the group, Celine, John the Tank, and Alara the Archer. Celine shares she's a water mage, and Moon decides to match her class. Moon notes John's tank build and Alara's poised archer stance. Celine's confidence inspires Moon's decision to stay near her in battle. A sudden distraction draws their gaze to a growing crowd around the guild area. Celine explains guilds offer help but with obligations, tempting yet risky. John and Alara refuse to join guilds, preferring independence. He agrees silently. Now's not the time for bonds that could limit him. Celine suggests exploring the training grounds for skill practice. They agree and head toward the base's training grounds together. At the entrance, an older awakener sets the entry fee with assured tone. Celine, John, and Alara pay the fee without hesitation or second thought. Moon feels tension as he prepares to use most of his savings for the fee. He pays the fee. The entry is granted with curt nod from the gatekeeper. They enter Training Ground 3, ready to face beasts of levels 1 to 3. Moon plans to use every second of his 2 hours to gain experience. Moon advances with the group towards the Level 1 beast training area, nerves tight. He watches as John moves first, his skin shimmering with a protective metallic hue. Moon holds back, eyes locked onto Celine, sensing a new kind of connection. She asks why he's not attacking. He admits his distraction while watching her. Celine urges swift action. Moon nods but remains still, nerves building. Celine strikes a sheep with a water sphere, and Moon feels a pulse through their unseen bond. He seizes the chance, activating the Elemental Mage class slot, absorbing new elemental magic knowledge. The flood of knowledge sharpens his mana paths, beginning his transformation into an elemental mage. He mimics Celine, shaping a wobbly water sphere in his palm, shaky but promising. Celine praises his control but advises compressing the water more before release. He concentrates harder, compressing the water sphere to stabilize it before launching again. A sheep charges at him, its eyes wild, but he holds firm and readies his attack. He hurls the water ball, splashing it against the sheep, halting its charge cold. Taking advantage, he conjures a second water ball and strikes the sheep's head precisely. After a few more strikes, the beast collapses with a heavy, wet thud, defeated. Celine cheers his victory, sharing in the thrill of her own first kill moments before. The thrill of success washes over him, fueling his resolve to master these new powers. Moon sees the notification confirming his kill, 5 lives gained from the fallen sheepdog. Celine joins Moon, teasing him about being startled by the system notification. She laughs, pondering the mysteries of the system before returning to hunt more sheepdogs. He focuses, scanning for the next target to gain experience and live swiftly. He recalls the rare 4-element affinity skill, unsure how to comprehend it yet hopeful. A sheepdog charges toward him. Instinctively, he raises his hand to summon a water attack. His compressed water ball strikes the sheepdog's shoulder but fails to stop its charge. Moon sidesteps the charge expertly, moving with subtle agility against the snarling beast. He conjures another water ball, striking the sheepdog's side, slowing its movement. Moon prepares a third water ball, aiming carefully at the vulnerable head of the beast. The injured sheepdog lowers its horns for another charge. Moon waits patiently. Just as the beast moves, Moon releases the water ball, hitting its head with a splash. The beast staggers, legs shaking, nearly defeated, but another charge approaches from the side. Startled by the sudden threat, he rolls backward as the enraged sheepdog charges his stomach. Breathing hard, he scrambles up, choosing to finish his first target before facing the second threat. He conjures a water ball, striking the wounded sheepdog's face, finally bringing it down. Without hesitation, he sidesteps the second sheepdog's renewed charge, creating space to prepare his next attack. He finds a steady rhythm, conjure water ball, create distance, repeat against the furious sheepdog. The furious beast resists, but each water ball slowly drains its strength and fury. After 6 attacks, the sheepdog collapses. Moon exhales, heart pounding from the close call. A bright notification appears. Moon has reached level 2, his attributes rising noticeably. He feels the strength and agility surge within him, invigorating his tired body. Moon gazes at his updated status, savoring the proof of his growing power and 10 lives. He feels the addictive thrill of measured growth, craving more from the first sanctuary. He eyes grazing sheepdogs, deciding to attack without delay before time runs out. He launches a water ball at the nearest sheepdog, striking it before it can prepare to defend. He keeps forming attacks as the sheepdog turns aggressive, its fury slowly ebbing under pressure. The 4th water ball knocks the sheepdog down. He notes his progress with quiet satisfaction. A kill notification confirms 5 new lives, accompanied by an update to his elemental attack skill. He reads the skill's new proficiency gain. Understanding skills improve with repeated use. He wonders if mastering skills fully will retain proficiency permanently or reset progress. He commits to maximizing every minute left, readying for another attack on a distant sheepdog. The water conjuration feels smoother now. Mana flows with less resistance and easier compression. He notes the effect of skill growth as the water ball strikes harder, hitting the sheepdog's head. He falls into a natural rhythm of attack and recharge, the process now second nature. The training timer suddenly vibrates violently, signaling the 2 hours have expired. Workers call out, ordering all hunters to cease their attacks and exit immediately. Escorted through barriers, the group reaches the main corridor. Celine beams with pride, announcing her high level and progress toward the next. John flexes hands experimentally, noting his steady progress and strength gain. Alara adds her steady advancements. All eyes then turn to Moon for his update. Though behind in levels, he hides the massive life count that gives him an edge. His talent multiplies lives far beyond normal, a secret strength surpassing common awakeners. Moon watches as Celine proposes they go on a real hunt outside the base. He commits quickly, assured by his stock of extra lives and readiness for danger. She agrees, eager for genuine combat beyond the sheltered training grounds. Moon nods to Celine, determined to push beyond safety and grow stronger. Celine brightens, excited as she talks about. They head to the commercial district, each calculating their equipment needs and funds. Alara skips weapon stalls, selecting several bundles of arrows with expert care. Celine shops with purpose, acquiring a blue mage robe, staff, and glowing potions. John carefully chooses heavy tank armor, shield, and a sharp sword for frontline defense. He opts for modest lightweight armor, spending half his funds cautiously. Celine quietly offers him money, but he declines, avoiding any owed debts. She apologizes softly, respecting his pride after her thoughtful offer. He assures her calmly it's fine, maintaining his independence and resolve. Celine rejoins John and Alara, who compare new gear with focused energy. Moon adjusts his armor's straps with care, preparing for the dangers ahead. The group completes their preparations and moves toward the base's main gate. Moon's group faces an experienced team blocking their path at the gate. Derek introduces himself and invites them to join his experienced group. Celine listens carefully and asks for time to discuss Derek's invitation. John thinks joining makes sense since Derek's group knows the terrain better. Moon questions the timing and motives behind Derek's offer, uneasy about the setup. Celine considers Moon's caution but still sees merit in the group's logic. John downplays the threat, emphasizing mutual risk and Awakener's balance. Alara supports joining, citing safety and learning benefits of experienced guides. Celine reassures Moon the level gap is manageable and safety improves with numbers. He weighs their words and accepts the offer, despite lingering doubts. John agrees confidently, eager to move forward with the new team. Alara quietly signals her agreement with a nod, steady and alert. Celine returns to Derek's group, confirming they will join the Eastern Woodlands hunt. Derek promises good loot, fair experience, and safe travel on their first run. They begin moving out. Moon stays at the back, alert to every movement. Moon and the group pass beyond the massive gates, entering a transformed wild landscape. Derek laughs as he shares how they once thought conquering the wilderness would be simple. Derek's companion recalls their first brutal encounter, nearly losing Marcus's arm to a swift razor wolf. A thin man with daggers warns that the beasts out here are aggressive and cunning hunters. Derek reassures the newcomers to stay sharp and follow instructions to survive. John asks about tank tactics while Marcus listens, their expressions focused and curious. Alara and Celine discuss archery tactics and arrow conservation quietly on the move. Moon stays silent at the rear while Alara's gaze occasionally flicks back toward him. Iris catches up to Moon, introducing herself with a warm smile and calm confidence. Iris guesses Moon's class as mage and talks tactics for coordinated attacks. Moon's brief answers don't deter Iris. She asks why he left the base so quickly. Iris laughs lightly and asks about Moon's goals and ambitions inside the sanctuary. Moon avoids direct answers and insists he'll communicate only when it matters. Iris accepts Moon's silence, and they fall into a quiet tension as the group presses forward. Derek signals for the group to slow as they approach the edge of the eastern woodland. Derek warns of nearby Razorwolf pack as the group halts to prepare for combat. Derek assigns roles for the fight, ranged fire, front, line tanks, and careful coordination. Derek reminds Moon to stay careful, concluding the group's battle preparations. Moon spots 3 large Razorwolves feeding in the trees as Derek prepares to give the attack signal. He aligns with Celine, ready to unleash a water spell as Derek's hand drops to begin the fight. Derek directs Marcus and John to intercept the left and center wolves as the battle erupts. Marcus slams his shield, erecting a shimmering barrier to block the left wolf's path. John supports from behind Marcus while Derek charges the right wolf with swift sword strikes. Iris fires an arrow piercing the center wolf's shoulder as Derek duels the right wolf. Celine strikes the wounded wolf with a spear of water launched from her glowing staff. He casts a water ball at the center wolf's head as it tries to recover from attacks. Marcus blocks fierce attacks from the left wolf as Derek and John cut into the other beasts. Iris, Celine, and Moon's attacks weaken the center wolf until it collapses under heavy fire. Derek delivers a crushing axe blow, finishing the down center wolf with an overhead strike. MC's vision shows the kill notification and life gain, a small smile crossing his face internally. Iris and Celine switch to support Marcus as the left wolf weakens under pressure. Derek finishes the fight with a lethal thrust through the left wolf's throat. The fight lasts only minutes as Derek commends their skill and Celine catches her breath. Derek praises Celine, John, and Alara for their performance during the fight. Derek ignores Moon out loud when addressing the group but nods subtly with approval. Celine questions the cost of death in the eastern woodlands as Derek responds seriously. Derek details the escalating costs of death with John responding in disbelief. MC reviews his status panel, noting his ample lives compared to other scarce reserves. He calculates he can afford many deaths while others have far fewer chances to survive. John and Derek discuss the cost of lives while Iris starts harvesting materials from the dead wolves. Moon remains watchful at the edge, eyes scanning every movement beyond their group. Moon notices a powerful group moving against them in the forest retreating towards base. Derek reveals the red-haired man is Kale Glassy, a feared level 10 hunter. Moon reflects on the vast power difference between himself and Kale Glassy. The group resumes hunting with Derek's leadership guiding their movements. Iris swiftly dispatches a serpent from the trees with 3 precise arrows. Celine, John, and Alara all rejoice as they reach level 4 after successful combat. Moon reviews his status panel, noting he remains just shy of level 4 with 75 lives. Derek praises the group's progress and encourages Moon that level 4 is imminent. Marcus suggests the group consider returning soon after hours in the woods. Derek asks the group if they want to keep hunting or call it a day. Celine, John, and Alara agree to continue hunting, energized and determined. Moon commits to stay and hunt, eyes cold and resolute. Derek leads the group deeper into the forest after Moon's decision. Moon keeps focused as Celine and John secure targets in the dangerous undergrowth. Iris harvests materials from fallen wolves quietly while the others prepare. Moon scans the woods intently, alert to any threats around the group. The team organizes for a final assault before they finish hunting and return. Marcus watches the 2 moons rise as daylight wanes, signaling time to head back. Moon notices a sudden notification warning that death now costs 5 lives. Derek raises a hand, calming the group despite the grim news and increased danger. He tightens their formation, focusing on tracking a single isolated target. Moon leads carefully, eyes sharp and movements cautious in the tense forest hunt. Suddenly, a swirling portal of energy appears, pulling them all violently inward. He tumbles through a blinding white, then dark void filled with shifting, strange colors. Moon and the others land roughly on snow-covered ground, struggling to regain balance. A cold, harsh realm surrounds him, the sky a swirling pale vortex without moons or stars. Moon reads a dire warning: 30 lives lost for every death in this hidden realm. The group shivers and trembles in the merciless cold, the warning sinking in. Derek urges calm, reminding that only the realm's exit condition stands between them and death. Marcus quietly asks what if they fail, his voice swallowed by the cold wind. Derek's unspoken reply hangs cold: death by monster or freezing, no escape if they fail. Moon surveys the frozen wasteland, searching for anything to aid their desperate situation. A distant dark figure moves against the white snow, drawing Moon's wary attention. Moon points out the approaching figure. The group reacts with shock and apprehension. John questions how the approaching figure is human and also pulled into this realm. Gareth reveals he was pulled in months ago hunting in this cursed realm alone. Derek warns the group to stay on guard. Gareth's power is overwhelming, at least level 10. Gareth offers to lead them to a camp with shelter, fire, and food stores 2 kilometers away. Alara challenges Gareth, suspicious if his offer to lead them isn't a trap. Gareth dismisses traps, saying the harsh mountain itself is the ultimate trap. Derek urges the group to follow Gareth, seeing no better chance in the brutal cold. Marcus agrees, shivering, preferring survival over freezing exposed in the elements. Celine looks to Moon, John, and Alara silently, their unspoken question echoing the group's uncertainty. Moon decides to follow Gareth, risking trust for shelter and safety from freezing. Gareth leads confidently despite the punishing snow and freezing cold cutting like knives. Derek warns the group to watch out as a large Arctic boar aggressively charges at them. Gareth swiftly kills the deadly Arctic boar, revealing surprising brutal strength. After a painful trek, Gareth leads the group to a cave entrance hidden by ice and stone. Moon asks about local beasts. Gareth warns of snow bears, ice wraiths, and frost giants. Gareth confirms hunting alone is necessary to survive, taking turns venturing far from camp. Derek pushes the group to enter the cave quickly before the cold worsens. Moon smells the foul cave air and notices Gareth's warning about the harsh living conditions. He watches Celine discreetly cover her nose, aware everyone must endure the cave's stench. Moon scans the cave and sees 2 injured survivors near the fire, Gareth explaining their condition. He learns others are out scouting, hunting, and gathering with the injured left behind in the cave. Derek gratefully warms his hands by the fire as Gareth insists everyone must contribute at night. Moon chooses a watchful spot while Selene sits apart, quietly observing their surroundings. Moon hears Selene quietly lament the months trapped here and the brutal conditions endured. He watches Gareth check on the injured, Selene questioning the group's hidden numbers and fate. Moon shares his resolve to learn the truth as Selene silently agrees and peers outside. Derek tries to engage the injured woman while John and Alara sit quietly, drained by the cold. Moon endures the slow passage of time as Gareth silently tends to the cave's meager supplies. He waits for the others but sees no sign of their return, growing restless in silence. Growing determined, Moon stands up and stretches, deciding to explore beyond the fire's glow. His movement draws a quiet call from Gareth, questioning where he plans to go. Moon answers Gareth's suspicion with a calm excuse and willingness to go outside. He reassures Gareth with a weak excuse while Selene watches quietly, others warm by the fire. Moon steps outside to the harsh cold while Gareth and others watch silently inside. He surveys the snowy expanse near the cave, searching for any sign of life or movement. Moon finds scattered bones and begins to suspect they may not belong to animals. His discovery of human bones unsettles him, hinting at something darker nearby. Moon assesses the grim scene, realizing this could be a human graveyard, deepening his unease. He recalls the foul odor and strange silence inside the cave, connecting uneasy dots. Moon channels fire mana, summoning a small flame to counter the numbing cold. He weighs his dangerous choices, leave alone or return and investigate cautiously. Moon disperses his mana and starts walking back toward the safety of the cave. He returns to the entrance, feigning cold discomfort as Gareth watches silently. Gareth admonishes him not to take too long and warns it's dangerous outside at night. Moon returns to the fire where Selene watches him closely, face full of quiet questions. He settles down, masking his fear, and prepares mentally for the dangers of the night. Moon senses Gareth's predatory gaze, watching him like prey as the sun sets into night. He suspects something worse, a cannibal's den filled with human bones scattered outside. Moon realizes nightfall will bring danger. He must act and warn the others soon. He chooses Selene to warn, but Gareth's watchful gaze makes direct talk impossible. Moon feigns cold, asking the group to huddle closer for warmth despite awkward, judging stares. Selene agrees, and they sit shoulder to share warmth as Gareth's attention drifts. Moon whispers urgently about the human bones outside. Selene's body stiffens, but she hides it well. Selene confirms the bones are human but stays silent on details, masking her fear well. Selene stands to use the toilet outside. Others urge her to stay safe, but she insists Moon accompany her. Gareth warns it's dangerous outside at night, but Selene calmly defies him. Gareth remains silent, disapproving. Moon follows Selene into the freezing night, Gareth's piercing gaze burning into their backs. The cold bites harder now. Moon grabs Selene's hand to guide her safely across the ice. They reach the bone-strewn spot. Selene kneels to examine the remains despite the fading light. Selene confirms the bones are human remains. Moon fears Gareth's suspicion is growing fast. Selene urges that they cannot return. The cave holds dangers they must avoid tonight. Moon considers if these bones are from fallen awakeners, but Selene finds that hope unlikely. The clean, fleshless bones mean a predatory force has scavenged the remains completely. Selene fears Gareth is a cannibal, hunting awakeners to survive or bargain with dark powers. The wind intensifies as Selene insists they leave immediately before Gareth makes his move. Moon braces himself, summoning fire mana for warmth and protection in the frozen night. Selene admits no safe shelter is nearby. Their survival depends on fleeing the cave tonight. A sudden sound from the cave startles them. They lock eyes knowing it's time to run. Moon and Selene run through the blizzard, their breaths ragged and bodies pushed to the limit. He slows as exhaustion sets in, searching the barren landscape for shelter from the relentless cold. Selene points to a rocky outcrop with a shallow cave, offering some refuge from the wind and snow. As they near the shelter, a small white beast snarls, baring sharp teeth to defend its territory. Their water spells strike the beast, overwhelming it before it can counterattack, ending the threat quickly. They drag the beast inside the cave, preparing to fashion a pelt to protect themselves from the cutting cold. Moon urges the need for fire, knowing warmth is the difference between life and death this night. Silent determination fills the air as Selene sets the beast's fat ablaze to create a fragile but vital fire. The acrid smoke stings their nostrils, but the fire grants precious warmth against the unforgiving cold. Moon takes the first watch beside the cave entrance, guarding against unseen threats lurking outside. Selene quietly takes over the watch as Moon drifts into uneasy rest, the night still tense and silent. Moon wakes to pale dawn light, alert as the cold outside continues but threats remain unseen. Moon gently wakes Selene, urging them to move before night brings fresh dangers. Selene questions their next step, panic barely masked behind tired eyes in the frozen wasteland. Moon resolutely insists they put distance between themselves and Gareth's dangerous cave. They acknowledge the fate of their friends left behind, resolving to survive first to help later. Moon softens slightly, urging courage as they prepare to leave their fragile sanctuary behind. Together they step into the dawn, walking with grim determination into the uncertain frozen wilds. Moon asks why the frozen landscape around them is barren as the biting wind lashes at their faces. He agrees to return if the endless snow persists, unwilling to wander endlessly in the frozen wastes. He remains silent, pushing forward through the swirling snow with footsteps crunching deep into the frozen ground. Moon nearly stumbles, stepping on a hard shape beneath the snow that reveals a frozen bear carcass. He alerts Selene to the bear's corpse, and she decides they should harvest its fur for better protection. They quickly cut the thick pelt, wrapping it around their bodies to shield themselves better from the bitter wind. Dressed in bear fur, they move more cautiously, aware predators are active and danger lurks nearby. Suddenly, savage roars erupt, forcing them to freeze and move quietly toward the sounds. They watch two massive beasts fiercely locked in combat, claws and jaws tearing at each other endlessly. He observes the brutal fight, knowing either beast could kill them in an instant if noticed. Selene points out the danger and opportunity, urging patience to strike once both beasts are exhausted. They wait silently, hidden behind a snowdrift, to seize the moment when one beast falters. The moment arrives, and they strike the dying beast with synchronized water and magic attacks. He watches the beast die, the brutal roar of the rival bear echoing wildly around them. The kill notification flashes, granting him lives and a level up, boosting his resolve instantly. Selene warns him of a new threat charging, tension mounting as they prepare to defend themselves. He conjures a powerful water blast to slow the charging bear, buying precious seconds to react. Both retreat and fire spells continuously, trying to keep the furious bear at bay in their desperate defense. The bear claws at Selene with deadly speed. Moon throws a quick water stream to save her just in time. Breathing hard, Selene thanks him while the enraged bear fixes its fury on Moon, the fight intensifying. He tries to retreat, but the furious bear charges with overwhelming speed, closing the gap fast. Moon's foot slips in the snow just as the bear's claws slash in a deadly arc. Selene's desperate shout pierces the cold as her spells come too late to save him from the looming attack. Selene unleashes her full power, launching multiple elemental spells at the ferocious Arctic bear. He braces himself and attempts to block the bear's vicious claws before the fatal blow strikes. Pain rips through him as the claws tear through his bare fur and armor, sending him flying backwards. Selene's spells bounce off the bear's limbs as it uses them to shield itself from the elemental assault. Moon crashes into the snow a few meters away, blood spraying red against the pristine landscape. A choked gasp escapes him as blood pours from his mouth, the metallic taste overwhelming his senses. Moon's fading gaze meets Selene's shocked eyes as he struggles to hold on despite the grievous wounds. With his last strength, he commands Selene to attack and launches himself at the beast to create an opening. Selene focuses immense mana, launching fiery projectiles at the bear clutching Moon with fierce power. He screams in agony as flames consume his body, the pain overwhelming, but he refuses to let go. The injured bear roars in pain, thrashing wildly as Selene's fireball strikes its scorched, broken body. His grip finally fails, and Moon collapses onto the snow, lifeless and broken. Death overtakes him. The world vanishes as the game system shows his demise and lost lives. Selene watches in disbelief as Moon's body disintegrates into particles before reappearing whole once more. He gasps for air, body whole again. The pain of death replaced by phantom echoes in his nerves. The bear staggers, barely alive, as Selene prepares more magic with determination to end the fight. He stands shakily, summoning water magic to join Selene's assault on the wounded beast. Fire and water collide violently on the bear, forcing it to stumble backward from their combined spells. Selene commands another magical strike, pushing to finish the staggering beast quickly. They unleash a relentless barrage, leaving the bear no chance to recover from its fatal wounds. The bear gives a final agonized roar before collapsing into the snow and going still. He stops channeling mana, his strength gone as he sinks heavily into the snow, recovery only beginning. Selene approaches quietly, voice barely above a whisper, asking how he survived the fatal strike. Moon lies about surviving his death, hiding the true edge he holds in this battle. He deflects Selene's curiosity by switching topics, playfully remarking on her fire magic. Selene admits her rare elemental mage status with visible hesitation and guarded vulnerability. He expresses gratefulness for her help and reassures that survival depends on mutual trust. He pushes to harvest materials from their fallen foes before retreating to shelter. Moon reviews his rising stats, investing newly gained attribute points into body resilience and mana. They wrap fresh pelts and prepared meat, deciding to return to their cave to regroup. He recalls the sting of death's claws and the fleeting edge between life and loss. They reach shelter as the sun sets, weary but alive, entering a small rocky cave. Selene tends a new fire inside while Moon stands guard near the cave's threshold. They share the warmth of cooking meat, their bodies soaking in the fire's glow. Selene voices her concern about endless survival without a clear plan forward. Moon listens intently, knowing their fragile survival cannot last without a true strategy. Moon checks his newly acquired elemental skills while Selene wakes beside the dying fire. He notes the exact proficiency of his elemental attack and how extra effects trigger at milestones. Moon wonders about the conditions needed to master his elemental skill entirely. He confirms that his copied class carried proficiency despite their uncertain escape. They prepare to leave the cave, squinting against the bright snow of the mountainous landscape. They choose a new direction to explore, aiming to find more resources beyond their cave refuge. After hours, they halt beside strange three-toed animal tracks leading into a dense, shadowed forest. Selene questions following the blood trail. Moon decides they must if they want to learn about the land. He instructs caution and sets a plan to return before darkness, both ready to confront unknown dangers. Following the eerie trail, they enter dark woods where ice clings to branches, breaking with sharp cracks. Blood drops grow sparse as they push deeper, the creature either losing strength or escaping. Trees open to reveal a small clearing with a human camp abandoned under frozen snow. Moon signals a halt. They cautiously watch the empty camp from cover to assess threats. Selene whispers about the camp's abandonment. Moon studies signs of how long it's been deserted. The three-toed tracks cut through the camp, their path stirring some scattered supplies in the snow. Despite Selene's worry, Moon insists on searching carefully for usable supplies. Moon opens the frozen tent and peers inside, finding abandoned belongings scattered within. He calls out quietly to Selene, holding up a cold, stiff journal filled with entries. Moon reads aloud from the stiff journal, revealing dire notes on the hidden realm and its deadly trials. He recites the journal's warnings of a cave trap and a mounting threat lurking in the mountains. He reads the chilling account of Jennifer's last moments and how the survivors fear leaving camp alone. Moon closes the journal slowly, troubled by the mention of a temple said to be the heart of winter. He warns Selene not to venture to the temple yet and urges patience to grow stronger first. Selene suggests checking the cave from a distance to find out if Derek and the others are still there. They leave the camp quietly, journal in hand, ready to uncover more truths about the heart of winter. After hours, they reach a rocky outcrop to observe the dark and silent cave entrance from afar. They wait silently for hours, watching for any signs of life or movement near the cave's ominous entrance. Selene whispers her suspicion that Gareth might be hiding something. No signs of the others appear. Moon considers Gareth's strength and cold demeanor, sensing hidden danger in his delay to act. He senses a chilling truth. Gareth could be the deadliest predator lurking in this frozen nightmare. Selene urges retreat before darkness falls and the unseen dangers begin their hunt. He agrees silently, taking one last wary glance at the cave where his trapped friends wait in peril. They move quickly but cautiously through frozen woods, the journal's warnings echoing in Moon's mind. Moon knows that surviving the heart of winter will require more strength, and perhaps deeper betrayal. Moon reaches level 10 after a brutal week battling frost and beasts in the frozen wasteland. He confirms his elemental attack skill evolution, sacrificing more than 1,000 lives to maximize damage. He watches the various evolution notifications cascade across his vision as lives are consumed. He finalizes elemental attack's evolution to uncommon tier, gaining powerful new abilities. Moon examines the 4-element affinity skill, calculating the expensive cost to evolve it further. "Are you ready?" Selene asks with a hardened expression. He nods in resolve. He leads Selene out of the cave, ready to confront Gareth and move towards the temple. Moon reflects on the harsh truth. Only the strongest survive in this frozen realm. Looking down at his status screen, he sees that his increased lives allow more flexible skill evolution. He knows evolution costs expend his lives fast, marking a heavy but rewarding price. Moon's talent as Grim Reaper grants him an unprecedented reserve of lives to push his skills. The duo readies for their mission, moving with quiet confidence to face Gareth and what lies ahead. He tightens his grip, knowing that survival here demands more than strength alone. Moon recalls Gareth always emerges alone from the cave, with no sign of the others promised. Selene's warning echoes, the dangers grow, and nightfall brings a new kind of peril. He agrees silently, locking eyes once more with the frozen cave and the fate it hides. Moon leads the way into the cave, tense and ready for anything. He warns Selene to stay back, knowing his new skill could harm her. He steps in first, mana gathering, ready to cast at any threat. He advances with caution, senses straining for the slightest sign of danger. They find the cave empty, save for cold ashes and abandoned belongings. Moon whispers about their missing teammates with a grim expression. They press onward, checking every alcove for signs of life. After thorough search, Moon curses, Gareth must have moved their target. Selene voices suspicion, and Moon suggests checking the graveyard next. They exit into snowdrifts, moving toward the graveyard where bones were found. Moon's heart pounds as they search the snow for new remains. Selene breaks the silence, noting there are no new bones to be found. Moon weighs grim possibilities, considering Gareth's cunning moves. Selene reminds him that if their teammates moved, they may have covered all tracks. He resolves to keep growing stronger and focus on the temple ahead. She agrees quietly, accepting survival is their priority now. Together, they leave the graveyard behind and head back to camp. Along the way, they easily dispatch several wild beasts threatening their path. Selene admires Moon's powerful new skills and swift kills. He explains how he's leveled up his main skill multiple times. Selene replies she has as well, but with less dramatic effect. Moon acknowledges their difference in skill and they continue their trek cautiously. Moon Outlaw nearly reaches level 11 after countless beast kills on the journey back. He notes his lives have dropped sharply, but the skill evolution justifies the cost. He says they must stop wandering and find a goal, start by scouting the temple. She questions their readiness, but he laughs harshly, admitting they're stronger now. He suggests scouting the temple cautiously to gather information before deciding. They prepare their gear carefully, securing furs and reviewing journal details of the temple. Moon sets departure at first light to maximize daylight for the trek to the temple. They take turns keeping watch overnight, guarding each other through the biting cold. At dawn, they begin the climb, breath misting in the frigid air, determined to confront fate. The mountain looms like a frozen titan, its icy peak lost in shifting clouds and mist. Only the cold wind howls, carrying whispers of death through the barren snowy wastes. He spots fresh deep claw marks gouged into ice, large enough to fit his fist inside. They find the frozen corpse of an enormous mutilated beast, a testament to brutal strength. Selene points silently to enormous fresh toad tracks leading deeper up the mountain. Moon notes blood on the snow, a grim sign the mountain is a deadly battleground. They realize the temple sits amidst a battlefield for beasts far stronger than level 9 monsters. He offers a last chance to turn back, but she insists they've come too far to stop now. Moon climbs cautiously with Selene, navigating narrow icy passages 2 hours into the ascent. He keeps senses sharp, watching for predators as Selene finds the safest mountain paths. Suddenly, a massive frost serpent bursts from beneath snow, attacking without warning. He commands Selene, left, and readies dual elemental magic with fire and water. She trusts him, diving left without hesitation amidst the commotion. He unleashes a massive fireball larger than a car wheel, targeting the serpent's armored head. Selene calls Earth to her will, spiking the mountain with jagged stone under the serpent's body. He fires another fireball and a pressurized water lance targeting the serpent's wounded midsection. Selene follows with more earth spikes, a wind blade slicing the serpent's flank, and a fireball to its tail. They combine powers to crush the serpent in under 10 seconds, overwhelming their ambusher. He lowers his hands, breathing calmly as the spell's power settles and efficiency grows. Selene approaches with wide eyes, impressed by the ferocity of his evolved fireball. Moon conceals his true class with a partial lie about 3 elements, protecting his secret. Selene had never heard of anyone besides full elemental mages with multiple affinities. He admits their teamwork is strong, and she agrees, their bond growing on this climb. Looking up toward the temple, Selene believes they might survive the dangers ahead. He cautiously agrees, yet wonders what horrors lie beyond a level 12 beast's attack. They salvage scales and meat from the frost serpent before resuming the climb with renewed resolve. Moon feels the fierce wind shift abruptly as a brutal blizzard strikes the mountain path. He grabs Selene's arm, shouting over the roar to seek shelter from the sudden storm. He spots a cave entrance nearby and they rush, stumbling through deep snow to safety. They dive into the cave as avalanche thunder crashes past, barely escaping the deadly wave. Moon gathers a small flame in his palm to light the interior of their new refuge. He notices old fire remnants on the ground, signs someone camped here long ago. Selene finds abandoned gear deeper inside the cave, proof others had passed this way. Moon studies bizarre symbols carved into the stone walls, mysteries etched in rough marks. She gently traces the carvings, but neither can understand the cryptic message. He suspects the carvings hold vital secrets left by the lost travelers from the journal. She links the symbols to the doomed group's journal, confirming their path through here. Moon ponders why the ancient travelers used unreadable symbols, a strange curse of this place. She suggests the mountain affected their minds, twisting perception and language alike. Outside, the blizzard rages on, hiding the night and sealing them into silence. He vows they cannot descend in darkness and storms without risking their lives. Selene agrees grimly. Their strategy must adjust to survive this merciless storm. Moon resolves to take shifts guarding the entrance through the long cold night. She offers to take the first watch, knowing he needs rest after the tough fight. He rests against the cool cave wall, watching the blizzard through half-closed eyes. She stands watch silently, eyes sharp in the swirling whiteout outside the cave. Moon lays awake, heart pounding, mind haunted by lost souls who never returned. Moon breathes in the fresh air as the blizzard ends at last. He watches as they break through the snow blocking the cave's mouth. Moon and Selene finally break free into the breathtaking transformed mountain landscape. He realizes the path back is gone. Only a harder climb remains. He spots the towering temple carved into the mountain with awe. Moon notes a fleeting silhouette moving between the temple's pillars. He watches intently but sees only stone and swirling snow around them. He decides they must stay vigilant if anyone lingers above. They face treacherous slopes as they climb the unstable mountain terrain. He studies ancient carvings etched into frost-covered temple pillars. Moon notices the grotesque throne carved with eerie detail. He comprehends the dark history written in stone sacrifices. He whispers names for the ancient being they soon must face. He and Selene approach the temple's dark entrance with mounting dread. Moon hears boots echo from deep inside, signs of others lurking. He whispers it's clear people are inside, forcing their hand to enter. Moon accepts they have no choice but to move deeper into the dark temple. He is stunned to find John and Alara alive and waiting inside. Moon surveys the chamber, noting the shock on Derek's team and Gareth's absence. He explains their survival story and demands answers about Gareth's whereabouts. Selene's firm question about their presence is met with Derek's casual, evasive reply. Moon and Selene exchange uneasy glances, weighing their doubts about Gareth's intentions. Selene reveals the truth about their escape, sharing fears of Gareth's dark secrets. Derek laughs mockingly, dismissing her warnings as paranoia and fantasy. Marcus and Iris back Derek, citing Gareth's care and help for the group's survival. Moon's jaw tightens as he demands Gareth's current location and reasons for absence. Derek explains Gareth's scouting routine, assuring that he'll return soon. Selene presses deeper, questioning why Gareth was alone when they found them. Derek cuts Selene off with irritation, accusing their minds of playing tricks. John steps forward, apologetic, supporting Derek and urging trust in Gareth. Everyone turns as Gareth enters, tall and imposing with his bloodied spear. Gareth listens without surprise while Derek mocks Moon and Selene's accusations. Gareth calmly suggests paranoia born from isolation and fear shapes perception here. Derek laughs again, dismissing doubts with relief, confident Gareth is trusted. Gareth shifts his spear, readying the group for the door, opening at nightfall. The group erupts with hope at the possibility of escape through the temple's door. John explains the puzzle door and Gareth's discovery of its opening mechanism. Moon and Selene share a glance loaded with suspicion and unspoken questions. Moon questions Gareth about the activation mechanism requiring all 10 people. Gareth confirms the timing requires simultaneous pressure plate activation at nightfall. Selene quietly asks what happens if the mechanism fails to open the door. Gareth warns the group they risk being trapped here forever if the plan fails. Moon and Selene share a silent agreement to watch Gareth closely and be ready. Tonight a truth will be revealed as they prepare to open the ancient temple door. The group presses their hands simultaneously to the carved walls as the door begins to move. Excitement erupts as the door opens, promising hope and escape for the weary group. Moon and Selene remain watchful and tense, eyes fixed on Gareth's calm, unreadable face. They decide to enter and confront Gareth if his dark secrets come to light tonight. Moon descends deeper into the mountain, the endless spiral leading the group into darkness. Derek's irritation breaks the silence, questioning another mechanism to open a door. The door swings open silently and smoothly before Gareth can act, as though expecting them. Moon and the group enter a vast, dark chamber swallowed by silence and shadow. He feels the darkness consume sound and space, a presence rather than absence inside the chamber. Gareth quietly orders the group to stay together, the air thick with unspoken threat. The door slams shut behind them, torch flames ignite one by one, peeling back the chamber's secrets. He notices the grotesque carvings, faces twisted in fear or ecstasy, bodies bent in submission. In the chamber's center, a black stone altar stands, carved channels leading to a central depression. His blood turns to ice as he sees the throne behind the altar, made of bone and fused ice. Moon's gaze fixes on the creature seated on the throne, antlers of ice gleaming razor-sharp. He senses the creature's gaze piercing through him, deeper than flesh and bone. Words burn silently before them. Welcome to the heart of winter. An ominous trial begins. Gareth speaks to the creature with disturbing familiarity, demanding freedom with sacrifices in tow. Derek's shock turns to horror as realization dawns on Gareth's dark secret. The creature laughs, its voice echoing and swallowing Derek's protests completely. The eyeless figure fixates on Gareth, mocking his so-called sacrifices. He realizes Gareth betrayed them before, bringing others as sacrifices in this very chamber. Moon's nerves race as new text warns, this trial is a permanent death zone. Marcus whispers disbelief as fear grips the remaining 9 awakeners in the chamber. Derek, Iris, and teammates rally in desperation, calling the others to fight Gareth. Gareth strikes down Marcus with brutal speed, shrugging off Alara's arrow like it's nothing. Moon watches as Gareth's attack shatters Celine's earth wall, scattering stone chunks. Hearts pounding, Derek creates distance while Iris fires arrows to slow Gareth down. Moon and Celine launch restrained elemental attacks while Iris keeps shooting her bow relentlessly. He and Celine make their fire weaker, holding back full force to save energy for the inevitable fight ahead. Gareth ruthlessly cuts down Derek's team with ruthless speed, striking 2 down before they can react. Iris staggers from a deep arm wound as blood streams down, struggling to maintain her grip on the bow. Alara fires arrows in desperation, but Gareth's spear deflects them with brutal reflexes. John sacrifices himself, blocking Gareth's spear aimed at Alara with his own body. Alara cradles John as he gasps and fades, tears flowing in agonized sobs. 5 survivors remain standing, weary but ready, as Gareth faces them heavily wounded. Derek's furious scream echoes, demanding to know why Gareth betrayed and slaughtered them. Gareth mocks the survivors as mere objects for sacrifice before collapsing from wounds. Moon releases a full, powered fireball, engulfing Gareth in flames, leaving only charred remains. He watches lives flood his reserves after killing Gareth, feeling power surge within him. Moon immediately spends hundreds of lives to upgrade his 4-element affinity skill rapidly. He achieves level 6 and evolves the skill, gaining massive elemental control and damage boost. Derek eyes Moon with fury, accusing him of selfishly hiding his true power during the fight. MC coldly retorts that Derek's reckless trust caused the deaths, not his own restraint. Derek tries to turn Iris and Alara against him, calling Moon dangerous and greedy. He looks to Celine silently, questioning if she will join Derek in opposition to him. Celine stands beside Moon, warning Derek and the others not to attack him but to fight the true enemy instead. Derek lashes out in fury, accusing Celine of guilt and demanding they kill her as well. Alara tearfully accuses Moon of letting John die, blaming him for not using his power to save him. He silently shoulders the heavy guilt for holding back, knowing survival sometimes demands harsh choices. Derek gives a last chance to surrender, but Moon readies to battle, mana swirling around him and Celine. Derek, Iris, and Alara attack simultaneously, aiming to overwhelm Moon and Celine. With a heavy heart, Moon kills the attackers instantly with a powerful fireball and rocky barrier. Celine mourns silently but admits Moon's decision was right under the harsh circumstances. Moon contemplates the kills, gaining lives but wrestling with the harsh reality of survival. With all threats gone, Moon and Celine regroup and plan their next move cautiously. Celine doubts the heart of Winter's words and fears another trick awaits with demands for more sacrifices. He resolves to fight the heart of Winter and its 6 wolves alone, seeking to bring down the threat himself. Celine reluctantly agrees to trust Moon and stay back unless called into battle. The heart of Winter mocks Moon's pride while its wolves prepare to attack. MC steels himself as the 6 level 15 wolves descend, preparing for a desperate fight to survive. Celine watches tensely, ready to join only if Moon commands her intervention. Moon Outlaw unleashes a massive fireball at the arrogant lead wolf. He throws the fireball. The explosion burns the lead wolf severely. He sends a second explosive fireball and finishes off the burning wolf. He gains a level and receives a massive reward of lives for his solo victory. He absorbs new power, feeling strength and confidence surge through him. He hurls another fireball at a vengeful wolf with newfound elemental power. He channels lives rapidly to evolve his 4-element affinity skill. His elemental control improves massively, doubling the power of his fireball. Moon faces 3 wolves coordinating a careful assault on him. He dodges an attack, conjuring earth and water to block and slip the wolf strikes. Selene cheers for him, amazed by his overwhelming strength against the wolves. He attacks again, earth spikes piercing a wolf's body, severely injuring it. A wolf lunges at him from blind spot, claws missing his throat by inches. He fires a quick fireball, forcing the attacker to retreat, creating breathing room. He cautiously backpedals while the wolves attempt to encircle him. One wolf scratches his shoulder, blood leaking from a deep gash. He erects earth walls and blasts fire outward, forcing the wolves back. His healing magic closes the claw wounds, easing the pain swiftly. Selene hesitates to intervene but obeys his silent command to stay back. Moon reveals his secret healing ability, casting doubt on class limits. He finishes off the injured wolf with a powerful fireball, cleansing the battlefield. His mana drains rapidly, but the wolves fear his overwhelming magic. Fire dances in one hand, water curls in the other as he prepares to strike. A cloaked figure watches the battle silently from a distant throne. Moon channels more lives into his skill, pushing for element affinity to level 9 as he faces 3 circling wolves. He launches a powerful fireball that consumes a wounded wolf, turning it to ash and gaining substantial lives. He swiftly erects an earth wall to block a volley of sharp icicles fired by a second wolf. Surprise wind attack hits MC, hurting his arm, but he quickly retaliates with earth powers to trap the aggressive wolf. Ignoring the pain, Moon forms a fireball and trips the retreating wolf with earth spikes, striking it down. He launches a stronger fireball, gaining lives from the powerful wolf before the final enemy approaches. The last wolf retreats hesitantly, fear overtaking its confidence as it faces Moon's overwhelming magic. He quickly heals his wounded arm, stopping the bleeding before summoning water to create deadly pressurized lances. He fires rapid water lances. A few miss, but one strikes the hind leg, crippling the wolf as it tries to escape. Earth spikes erupt beneath the injured wolf, impaling it before a final fiery blast ends its painful life. 6 wolves lie defeated. Moon's mana is drained, but he stands victorious, breathing hard among the flames. Selene watches MC with awe and caution, muttering that he seems like a grim reaper indeed. The eyeless figure on the throne remains silent, its unsettling smile fixed as it watches Moon and Selene. The trial master rises slowly, revealing its massive size and genuine approval for Moon's performance. It declares the trial unfinished, warning that only one survivor may leave as 2 remain alive. The creature orders Moon to kill Selene or die together, its menacing tone filling the chamber. The harsh countdown clock ticks down, leaving Moon with less than 40 seconds to decide their fate. Moon Outlaw faces the creature, revealing the trap to force them to turn on each other. He declares a third option to kill the creature instead of each other. An epic skill unlock floods him with power, awakening the 5th element, lightning. He takes in the details of his new epic rank skill with moderate 4-element affinity plus lightning. He smiles coldly, energized by newfound power, ready to face the descending creature. He turns to Selene, asking if she's ready to leave this realm with him. Selene nods softly, signaling her readiness to escape this realm. The creature mocks their plans, amused and unfazed, inviting Moon to prove himself. He smirks confidently, unleashing fierce crackling lightning from his hands. Lightning jolts toward the creature, who dodges swiftly with massive speed. The lightning blasts the throne into shards, satisfying Moon as the creature fears him. The creature is confused by his power, sensing a hidden strength he had kept back. Moon urges Selene to combine their elements. He'll use lightning, she'll use water. He fires lightning again while Selene launches a water sphere that drenches the creature. The creature never counterattacks, only dodging, revealing a weakness to wait out the trial. Looking at the timer, Moon deduces the creature cannot attack until time expires. The creature admits it can't attack yet, but threatens to burn him to ash when time runs out. Moon steps closer carefully, preparing a combined elemental attack with Selene. Selene spreads water on the floor, pooling around the creature's feet as it waits. The creature stays in the puddle, unaware of the threat lightning poses to wet ground. Moon knows lightning is the key to stunning the heart of winter. He commands Selene to prepare fire, ready for a powerful combined strike. He unleashes an immense lightning bolt striking the water near the beast. He watches as electricity engulfs the winter beast, stunning it violently. He urges Selene to continue, refusing to lessen the relentless assault. His lightning stuns while Selene's fire burns through the beast's damaged armor. The unending cycle breaks the beast's defense, leaving it wounded and weary. His mana drains, but he fights on, knowing victory depends on endurance. Time ticks down as electric shocks and flames trap the beast in a brutal death dance. The timer hits 0, the creature is finally free to launch its brutal counterattack. He narrowly dodges the spear, body electrified to boost movement speed. He falls hard but survives, the icicle demolishing the ruined door behind him. He winces in pain, his legs suffering side effects from conducting electricity. He reflects on the creature's immense strength and their lucky advantage. The creature falters, collapsing under its own damaged body and armor. It whispers about him being irregular before falling lifeless to the ground. He sees the victory messages and gains a massive reward for defeating the beast. Moon reflects on how perfectly fate aligned to grant his survival and victory. Selene stares at the fallen winter beast, trembling after casting powerful magic. Moon pushes himself up despite aching muscles and nearly depleted mana. They are alive against all odds after surviving the Cursed Realm's trial. Selene approaches Moon, disbelief softening her exhausted voice. He quietly affirms their survival while staring at the fallen beast. An extraordinary system notification sears into Moon's vision, marking his ascendance. He absorbs the weight of the system's appraisal, named an irregular outside understanding. An epic skill, tenacity, grants him unbeatable will and boosts vital attributes. Selene reads her own unexpected notification, still shocked by their shared triumph. They share a quiet moment. Understanding power is often kept private. Selene quietly congratulates Moon softly, her smile tired but genuine. He returns Selene's congratulations with a soft smile, grateful to survive. A crack ripples in the air, and a stable portal appears near the winter beast's corpse. Selene urges Moon to leave before more dangers arise in the chamber. Moon scans the chamber one last time, absorbing the toll of death around him. He acknowledges the horrors faced and resolves to survive at any cost. Moon suggests taking the winter beast's body to sell for a large reward. He smiles softly, asking Selene to hold the body since he lacks storage rings. Selene offers one of her storage rings without hesitation for their shared use. Moon stores the winter beast's body, but can only fit one Arctic wolf due to ring limits. They walk side by side toward the portal, two survivors leaving the frozen hell. Moon takes a last breath of cold air before stepping through to freedom. The realm releases him as the world dissolves into light and color beyond the portal. Moon and Selene return to the frozen first sanctuary, stepping onto familiar icy ground. He notices 5 wolves nearby. Selene acts fast with a wind blade, cutting them down. Moon smiles, impressed by Selene's speed, acknowledging their growing strength. They skip gathering materials, knowing their priorities lie elsewhere now. At the sanctuary base, Moon questions an awakener about the current date. The awakener confirms it is the 3rd day of the 4th month, shocking Moon and Selene. Moon and Selene register 3 months past, stunned by the revelation of lost time. Moon theorizes time distortion in the hidden realm caused the temporal disconnect. Selene and Moon mourn fallen friends, understanding the cost of their prolonged trial. Moon insists they find rest, real warmth, and safety after surviving the frozen hell. They enter the base, two survivors carrying secrets and powers beyond their peers. Selene asks Moon about his plans once they're rested, curiosity in her voice. He plans to return after rest and seek transport to more challenging grounds. Selene suggests exchanging numbers to hang out on Earth, offering a light moment. Moon accepts, requesting Selene's number first to protect his own identity. They share a brief smile, sealing a fragile bond forged in survival. They depart for Earth's warmth, the portal shimmering like disturbed water. He steels himself alone and steps through the portal back to his small apartment. Moon regains consciousness in his apartment, stunned by the familiar yet strange setting. Suddenly, a swift white fist rushes toward him, triggering his reflexes immediately. He notes the power and skill behind the strike, intrigued despite the sudden attack. He realizes the attacker is a woman, dripping wet and wrapped only in a towel. She demands to know who he is and how he appeared in her room, voice sharp with alarm. Moon calmly asserts this is his apartment and inquires about her presence there. She ignores him, launching another precise martial strike at his torso, but he blocks with ease. Moon insists he means no harm and holds her firmly but without pressure. The woman's balance falters, and instinctively she grasps to steady herself as the towel drops. Moon apologizes quietly, keeping his gaze fixed on the wall, avoiding further disturbance. Her scream fills the room, a sharp command for him to leave the now invaded space. The towel reclaimed hastily, she threatens to call the Awakeners Association on him. Moon explains he'll leave soon but asks if she saw any money in the desk drawer. She denies seeing money, suspicious and unwilling to provide any help or answers. He accepts her refusal quietly, his thoughts full of lost belongings and eviction's harsh reality. The door slams behind him, locking sound echoing as he is sealed out, truly evicted. Outside, Moon contemplates the loss, home, possessions, and the life that vanished. He pulls out his dead phone, glancing at his remaining cash and worn gear with grim resolve. He resolves to visit the Awakeners Association and reclaim what's left of his life and status. Finding a rundown hotel within walking distance, he pays cash for a low-quality room without complaint. Inside the cramped room, Moon collapses onto the sagging mattress fully armored, too exhausted to change. His body surrenders to exhaustion, sinking into a deep, dreamless sleep free from constant danger.